Playing new messages.
Hi there. I'm calling in regards to your missing cat. Good news. I have your cat, or rather, what remains of your cat. Now, when I say what remains, you're probably thinking that your cat is dead. Well, not quite. It's really a bit more complicated than all that. You see, parts of your cat are still alive and well, and that poses it poses a serious problem here, right? I got your number from one of the posters, a missing cat, I think it said, had a little tags you tear off, you put them up around the neighborhood, and I'm not going to lie. When I saw the $2,000 reward, that grabbed my attention. I figured, man, you must really love this cat, and that there wasn't anything out of the ordinary about it, right? So I kept my eyes peeled. Then the other morning, really, really early, I was walking down Robson Street, yeah? Now, this stretch of the road has seen way, way better days, windows blacked out, old abandoned buildings, both sides of the street. Not a road I should have been walking down, yeah? Now, I was by myself, and I kind of started to sweat and getting nervous. And I didn't see anybody. But, man, I swear, there were eyes from all directions staring at me. I was approaching this dark, nasty alleyway. And then I heard a blood-curdling scream. Now, most nights, I steer clear of any kind of shouting or craziness, right? But when it emerges from the narrow crevices between abandoned buildings, usually I would walk as fast as I can and just hope and pray somebody else would deal with it. But this time was different. I felt like I was oogling a fresh, brand new car wreck. And I just had to see what the distress of this other human being was. So I turned and I walked down this dumpster-lined back street, right? And I heard another shriek just before stumbling upon this terrified homeless man sitting on the ground. He was begging and pleading, "Oh, please, leave me alone, leave me alone." His back was pressed up against a large metal dumpster, and his hands were covering his face. He shrunk like he was expecting somebody to hit him. He looked up at me as I approached, and I've never before seen this kind of a look of, absolute horror on another man's face. It's quite frightening. Now, in front of him, about 3 feet away, was your cat. I saw your cat on the poster, yeah? One white and gray short-haired tabby. The cat you know and love. She was cleaning herself, licking her paws like a normal cat, and it seemed obvious to me that the screams were coming from this homeless man, yeah? So what I did was I hunkered down and I approached both of them very cautiously. A little bit of stealth, you know what I mean? I didn't want to scare the cat. I felt like I was just inches away from my furry little lottery ticket worth $2,000, and I wasn't going to take any chances. Quietly, I went down. "Here, kitty, kitty, kitty." I made those kind of sounds you make when you're calling your kitty cat. And as I drew closer, the homeless man turned to me and cried, "Stay away, or this thing's going to kill both of us." Now, at the time, I guess that this man was probably high on something, yeah? And I thought it was, just a cat. In hindsight, he was right, and well, I should have listened. But can you blame me? All evidence suggests that he was tripping on something, that was rocking his world. Now, I put my hands up in submission and told this dude, "All right, man, I just want the cat." I kept moving toward your cat, and I was almost just inches away from grabbing the cat up and taking it away when it just reared up, it hissed at me, and it just ran off in the alley. I swore a blue streak and said, "Well, There goes my $2,000. Now, I turned back to the homeless man, and he was breathing a sigh of relief. Oh, you saved my life, brother. Now, he grew calm, and he was surprisingly sober after the cat went away. I got to having a talk with him, and he says his name was Pete, and he'd lived in this part of town for years, yeah? I asked him how one little cat could possibly scare a big man like himself, and he claimed that for the last couple of weeks, your white and gray short-haired tabby had been hunting him. Now, I raised a very, no, this can't be happening style eyebrow to this dude and said, all right, Pete, I'm not entirely convinced that you're being hunted. And here's what I'm going to do. If you help me catch this cat, we'll split the reward 50-50, and you'll be cat-free. Now, this dude suddenly did something that surprised me, right? He shook his head, and he said, no, sir, man, I ain't, no way I'm getting close to that thing. He became really upset, man, when I suggested this. Like I was going to use him as bait to catch a lion. No worries, dude, I said. And I'm just trying to placate him as best I could. Offered him a couple of bucks before I left. And as I was getting ready to leave, I heard Pete shout something behind my back. That cat's man, you got to listen to me. That cat wants my babies. But she's not going to get them. The next day, okay, I got to thinking maybe your cat was slumming in the alley. I reckon that if I came back during the evening, I might find your cat prowling around again, so that here was my plan. I'm going to go back that night, and I'm going to go to the alley, and once I did, I found Pete, and he was laying on the ground right by the same dumpster. He was rocking back and forth, and he was just freaked out. He seemed to be cradling something, holding it in his lap. I said, hey, Pete, what's going on? You okay? He glared up at me with pain in his eyes. That goddamn cat took my hands, he cried, and he held up his arms in front of him and presented, 2 stumps. The wounds looked fresh, and the weird thing here, man, is they appeared to be cauterized. I said, Pete, what the hell happened to you? I just saw you a day ago. There's that damn cat. She came after me right after you left. He went on excited and rambling and about how the cat had been scheming to harvest his body parts. I didn't believe him. No way a cat could do this. Not in a million years, right? Cats chase birds and throw around catnip pillows. They certainly don't have the wherewithal to do like impromptu surgery in a dark alley on a homeless dude. I told him, all right, Pete, sorry about that. I don't know what else I could have told him. Clearly he was a victim of some recent bodily tragedy as far as I could see. But there wasn't much I could do for him. Maybe I'd give him some of the reward money when I found the cat. So, listen, I asked Pete, you seen where the cat went, man? He aimed a stump toward me, and he looked at it and pointed the stump at the building right behind me and up. Yeah? I couldn't really see. It was really hard it was because it was dark, right? It was getting dark, and there were a lot of shadows on the wall. But nevertheless, as I looked up, I swear I saw your cat hanging onto the wall with 2 fresh human hands in front instead of furry little cute kitty paws. I made kind of a desperate, here kitty kitty, but it wasn't to any avail, and the cat just disappeared on the roof. I went to talk to Pete, and I told him he needed to go to the hospital. Pete shook his head. Hell no. That cat's waiting for me to let my guard down and show up at a hospital emergency room, and he's going to finish the job he started. He's going to take my precious seed. I looked up at the building, an impossible structure. Cats can't climb brick walls. I gave Pete another $2 and I booked, man. I had to leave the alley. All right. Now, by the third night, I came up with a plan that I thought was absolutely flawless. But, I mean, you know, best laid plans of mice and men, yeah? This time I came to the alley, and I was prepared. I got this old cat carrier. I had a little bag of those little kitty treats that all the cats love, and I had my secret weapon, a cucumber. Now, this is how the plan was supposed to work. I was going to find out where the cat was hiding, plant the cucumber beside it. Then I was going to lure the cat out with a handful of treats. Now, hopefully the cat would exit the shelter, start nibbling at the treats. I'd approach the cat stealthily, yeah, causing her to take off towards the cucumber. And then she's going to fling herself into the air, and I'm going to take this opportunity to catch her and deposit her in the cat carrier. Now, I thought this was a really super impressive plan, and I felt really good about it, yeah? And I also convinced myself that there was no way the cat had human hands. That crap's impossible, right? Now, what I thought I saw was all in my mind. It was dark, you know, what I thought I saw, I didn't see, or did I? At the time, I didn't know, but I was willing to set all that aside. Now, I mean, yeah, the sudden absence of, you know, that homeless dude, Pete's hands, that was kind of mysterious, but, you know, I had $2,000 on my mind, if you know what I'm saying. Now, so I'm there in the alley, and then I found what remained of Pete. I saw this crumpled up pile of clothes in front of the dumpster. I leaned over and I picked up Pete's jacket. It was damp and it was oozing something wet and nasty, and it kind of looked like, you know, the viscera you'd see in those horror movies. I dropped it on the ground, and it wasn't like Pete just to leave his favorite spot here in the alley. I remembered how desperate he was not to leave the protection of that particular dumpster. Now, I convinced myself that maybe he did go to the hospital, right? But I didn't know what all this nastiness was. This crap was really, and it stunk, by the way. It really stunk. So, all right, I got to get back on task here. I walked up and down the alley. Didn't see the cat. I remembered Pete said something about hearing the cat dragging stuff up on the roof. And the last time I saw the cat, she was heading up, well, the side of the building. Wow. Climbing towards the top. I reasoned that the cat must have had some kind of shelter or found a place to you know, kitty cat crash up there on the roof. I found the stair ladder on the external fire escape, and I had the cat carrier, and I climbed up the 4 stories to the roof. Now, the ladder was really awkward and shaky, very dangerous, in fact, with the cage in tow. But I managed to get up there all the way on top of the building, and I didn't fall. On the roof, next to this old broken down high-volume AC unit, I found the cat nest that was made out of garbage. It was domed and resembled a 4-man tent. Pretty damn good for a kitty cat, right? It was made of a mishmash of couch cushions, old clothes, old newspapers, and on the side there was a gash, like it was like a tent opening. And as I drew closer, I heard something moving inside this thing. It was time to enact my plan. I put the cat carrier on the ground, opened up the door, and placed a handful of treats in the cat carrier. I took the cucumber out, and I placed it right there by the entrance of the cat shelter. I heard a low rumble from inside as the cat started to come out. Now, over the course of these 3 days, the cat had undergone what I would have to call a profound transformation. And now I could barely recognize what this cat was, if it was even still a cat. I was paralyzed by what I saw coming out of this shelter. It was monstrous. First, when I saw it, it stuck its head out, and its gray and white fur was falling off in patches, and I could see the bare witness to, and it was like porcupine-like quills coming out of its brow. The already large cat eyes must have grown to 3 or 4 times their original size, and they bulged out of that kitty cat skull like an exotic tree frog. Then there were the teeth, just row after row of these jagged teeth all over this gigantic, horrible, monstrous mouth. And she glared at me with what I could only call desperation and hunger in those horrible eyes. Then she slowly unhinged her jaw. You heard what I said, right? She slowly unhinged her jaw, causing her to resemble like a Cheshire shark. All in all, what this cat was now was about the size of a full-grown lion. No longer the cute little kitty cat, house cat, gray and white tabby. This was the cat from hell. She started moving towards me, and when she placed her first paw forward, I realized there was still one further horror that I was going to witness. Holy shit, this cat has human hands. I jumped back in terror. This was terrifying. I was expecting a cat, not some nightmare from a monster movie. The cat got closer and closer, and I got it. I understood that I was no longer the hunter. Now this cat was hunting me. Lines of drool just dripped off these needle-sharp teeth, right? And I was certain that this cat was now a hell spawn that was going to eat me and drag me back to hell. Then from down along the street, a car blasted its horn. The cat, now nearly a foot away from my head, turned to look toward the source of the sound. She saw the cucumber, and the effect was immediate. She shrieked an ear-piercing banshee howl, and she jumped so high, and she flung herself all the way off the roof. Moments later, I heard a loud, just like crash in the alley below. Yeah? I ran to the ledge and looked down. It was hard to see, but it looked like the cat had broken into lots and lots of smaller pieces. I was overjoyed that my life was saved and I wasn't in any more danger, but at the time, I was disappointed because despite my best efforts, I wasn't going to see that $2,000. Yeah? Then I heard a chorus of these concerned mewing coming from the cat's nest. Now, I turned back and I went to the cat shelter, that little garbage hovel I just described a minute ago, and I found, check this out, 12 kittens, all of them covered in short gray and white fur. At first, they looked like, hey, look, adorable kittens, yeah? Then I took a closer look, and I was shocked to find that each body of the cat, had the unmistakable face of Pete, our friend from the alley, the homeless dude. I watched these deformed, demonic kittens squirm and writhe, and they were hideous little abominations. But I mean, they're little kittens, so I just couldn't leave them up there, right? I got to do the right thing. So I put the little kittens in the cat carrier, and I gingerly made my way back down the alley. Once I got to ground level now, here's what I find. Here's all the remains of your cat, all broken up. Now, I assume this broken apart monstrosity of a kitty cat was dead. Instead, each and every broken segment of your cat seemed to be, in its own weird way, alive with some freaky kind of internal energy. The tail was just winding around like a snake. And I saw these two weird long cat legs dragging themselves away with the human hands. At last, I found the cat head, your cat's head, propped up against Pete's favorite dumpster. She was making this terrible, pathetic meowing noise, and it just broke my heart. I found this old thrown away cardboard box, and I put your cat's head inside the box. So here's the deal. I'm back home now. And by the way, your cat's head has escaped from the box, scaring the shit out of my grandkids. It looks as though a dozen or so of these chitinous, spider-like weird legs have grown out of your cat's neck, and the damn thing's now crawling all around my apartment. It's climbing up the walls, and it's making noises and scaring the hell out of everybody in the house. And to make matters worse, all the kittens are starting to shriek. They're starting to sound like Pete did when I first met him in that alley. It's a horrible sound. And I don't know how much longer I can endure it. So I'm going to sum this up for you right now. And I'm going to get right to the point. I think I earned that $2,000, okay? Please call me back so we can discuss the reward money. I can be reached at 555-34